Now, lots of managers are looking to hit that wildcard button in game week 4, and I thought I'd do something a little bit different. I thought I'd take a look at what the AI has to offer in terms of its wildcard draft and kind of see if it's got any kind of maybe differential picks we've not thought about, or if it's completely off the scales. So let's go and check it out. Now, with all my wildcard videos, I do like to start them off taking a look at, of course, projected data over the next few weeks. This is coming from 11fi. A link will be in the description if you want to go and check out their amazing website for yourself. I just basically want to see whether or not the 11fi data kind of compares with some of the picks, and maybe if we can see two kind of, I would say, forward projecting data sets kind of predicting the same thing, then maybe the AI is onto something. So some teams it's recommending for clean sheets are going to be the Arsenals, the Manchester Cities, the Liverpools. Aston Villa are definitely up there as well. Chelsea have also got some pretty decent ones in there. Crystal Palace and Brentford arguably have a few good ones in there as well. So maybe some of the teams it is looking to target in those defensive areas as well. In terms of teams, it's probably going to be looking to avoid the likes of course, Wolves, Leicester, Ipswich. Pretty standard teams as well. Spurs have some pretty low clean sheet odds as well, despite some good fixtures after the North London derby as well. So I thought it'd be interesting to see how it obviously compares with the team when we move on to that one. Same goes for projected goals over the next few weeks. As you can see, Liverpool, one of the kind of key outliners over the next few weeks as well. Manchester City as well, some great projected goal numbers in there as well. Arsenal with their match day 6 onward fixtures as well. Definitely a team I feel a lot of people are going to be looking to kind of hop onto as well. Watkins and obviously, Rodgers are also going to be, picks that I think the AI might potentially select as well with some good projected data. Same goes for Chelsea as well, and Spurs, interestingly, making it quite high up on this list. Again, in terms of it's probably going to be looking to avoid maybe, I would say, Fulham players, Nottingham Forest players, Ipswich players, Southampton players from those attacking ones as well. Also, if we look to 4 and 5, the projected goals for Brighton are extremely good as well. So the likes of João Pedro, I am imagining, are going to be in that AI team as well. And then before we move on, I did want to take a look at Fantasy Football Hub's AI kind of hub predicted points tool as well. Again, if you want to go and check that out, there is a link in the description. They are currently running a 7-day free trial as well, so make sure you are going and checking that out for yourselves. As you can see, it does have Erling Haaland and Mohamed Salah as the top 2 players over the next 5 game weeks, and realistically 5 to 6 to maybe even 7 with the ability to roll transfers is probably where we're going to be looking for our wildcard to kind of have its, I would say, maximum strength. And you would imagine it probably is going to feature maybe one of these two, or I mean a lot of the ways that a lot of people are thinking are both, because how well both have started the season, both on 41 points. Obviously Haaland's been smashing in the goals. Salah as well has been a very, very consistent scorer over those past few weeks as well. Interestingly, both Saka and Palmer up there as well. We saw with the projected goal numbers from 11fi that it is expecting both of these teams to do quite well. So it's interesting that both of those have made the list as well. We outlined the good Brighton fixtures from an attacking standpoint as well, and João Pedro also makes this list as well. And as we can see, both Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold also feature on the hub predicted points tool as well. Again, maybe suggesting that with those great Liverpool fixtures coming up and strong clean sheet data, definitely worth some consideration. But let's go and take a look at the draft itself and obviously give it my kind of overall thoughts and opinions on whether or not I would recommend any picks that it does go and select. Right, wasting no time, let's go and dive into this team. Starting off with the goalkeepers first, it is going to be Martinez and it is going to be Fabianski. Let's first off start with Fabianski, a 4 million goalkeeper who did obviously come on at half-time for Areola. We're still yet to see the extent of that injury. However, though, if I was on a wild card this week, I think Fabianski would be the go-to 4 million goalkeeper. I think there was a few times as well last season where Areola also didn't feature. So, you know what? I think that's a great pick from the AI as well. Interestingly, we saw with the 11fi data that for clean sheets, Aston Villa were one of the top teams for the next few weeks. If you look at their fixture run on paper as well, Everton, Wolves, Ipswich, Manchester United, Fulham and Southampton as the next batch of fixtures is a really, really good set. And obviously a lot of people are going to be looking at the defenders, but if you do want a nice and easy way route into that back line, then maybe Martinez at 5 million could be a decent option. I've not really seen many people consider him as kind of, a goalkeeper pick, so maybe just one to consider on that one. going further forward. Right, let's dive into the back line, and as you can see, the AI has gone a little bit nuts here. It's gone for double Liverpool defence. Now, I would argue the next 5 fixtures are pretty decent, to be honest, especially from a defensive standpoint. Lots of home fixtures in there, including 3 home fixtures actually. Nottingham Forest, Southampton, and of course Chelsea at home. A great set of home fixtures there for Liverpool as well. We've seen as well with the XG conceded that they've managed to put up so far this season. They've been very tight at the back. Both Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold are doing exceptionally well in terms of creativity as well. So maybe this is a little bit of a cheat code. We're going to start to see some more rotation within the attacking lineup now that Champions League football is around the corner. So the likes of Jota, Diaz, Darwin Núñez, Gakpo. Obviously, they've signed Chiesa as well, so maybe if we do want to target these Liverpool fixtures, the best way to go about it is with the double Liverpool defence. Now, it is a very risky strategy. However, if you use that 11-5 data as well, it does have Liverpool as one of the top teams for projected clean sheets over the next 5 game weeks as well. So an interesting pick from the AI. However, let me know what you think about it. I think you're personally just going to go for one or the other, budget dependent, and how the rest of your team looks, rather than going for both. I think that might be a little bit overkill. And as we've seen already, sometimes clean sheets, they're a little bit sceptical, aren't they? Especially in the Premier League, we had an all-time low last season as well. And I do think with the kind of ability of the players and some of the kind of, I would say, progressive manager styles within the league, we are probably going to see I wouldn't say less, but again, probably less than we've seen maybe for the past 5-6 years this season as well. Now, Gvardiol is an interesting pick for me. Now, whether or not the AI is maybe thinking that there's going to be a change in potentially the way that City line up, and maybe Gvardiol gets back to what we saw last season. However, if we bring up his touch map right now, as we can see, it's not too progressive. He's kind of been playing in this back 3, and it's actually been Rico Lewis that has been the more advanced player rather than Gvardiol. He's kind of been playing in that similar position that Gvardiol was towards the back end of last season. And I think the fixtures as well, not the easiest on paper. Obviously, they've got Arsenal and Newcastle back-to-back, the big title decider. However, the 11-5 data is definitely still there for clean sheets for Manchester City. And obviously, from game week 7 onwards, they've got Fulham, Wolves, Southampton and Bournemouth. However, I think paying $6 million for a guy that is sitting so deep, I would want to see some attacking returns out of him. So I'm not 100% agreement on this one with the AI, to be honest. Right, let's move on into our 2 other defenders on the bench. It is going to be Harwood Bellis and it is going to be Greaves. Ipswich, interestingly, have a great fixture run coming up. So I think if I was on a wild card and I was looking for budget defenders, Greaves and obviously Leif Davis would definitely be on my radar, to be honest. Some of the expected data that Leif Davis is already putting up is very good. And like I said, a long stretch of fixtures you could definitely look to target Ipswich on as well. Right, let's move on into the midfield. Now it's got Saka. Again, we did see that Arsenal were one of the top teams for projected goals over, the next few weeks from the 11-5 data. However, that was game week 6 onwards, really. Tottenham and City, it wasn't too high in terms of, there's going to be lots of goals. So it's a very interesting pick from the AI. However, I think the Tottenham defence has still looked very shaky. It's looked a little bit wobbly, and I definitely think it is there for exploiting. Saka also has a pretty prolific record at the Spurs Stadium as well, so could be maybe one that the AI is smarting us out a little bit here. He's also been exceptionally good over the start of the season. Very unfortunate not to have came away with more in the game against Brighton as well. I think he had over 1 XG in that game, so very super unfortunate not to have came away with more. However, with the next 2 fixtures being a little bit difficult, I think that a lot of people are going to be looking away from him. However, I do find it interesting that the AI has decided to continue selecting him for the upcoming game weeks. Moving on to a player I think, 100% agreeing with. It is Cole Palmer. A lot of people are going to be looking to get him into the team. Back-to-back pretty good game weeks. I know he only picked up 1 assist this week, however was instrumental in everything that Chelsea did and managed to pick up 2 bonus points despite only getting the 1 assist as well. I think that kind of shows the impact he has within the side as well. So big shout out to him. Definitely in agreement with this one. And again, looking back to those 11-5 projected goal numbers, Chelsea were one of the top teams as well in that regard. Moving on to a next pick that, again, I think is probably going under the radar. If you look at some of the data that has been put up in terms of expected goals, number of shots, Semenyo comes out as one of the top picks and coming in at 5.5, I believe he still is. He might have gone up to 5.6 overnight. However, Still a fantastic pick. Now, obviously for me, the big problem with him is the fixtures are very poor over the next, I would say, 6 game weeks. That's the reason I'm not looking at him. Otherwise, I would be very much highly recommending him because he is playing basically as a number 9. He's getting lots of shots. He actually had a pretty good season as well last year as well. And there are rumours that he might be the penalty taker now that Dominic Solanke has left the club as well. But they've got Chelsea in game week 4, Liverpool away in 5, then Southampton and Leicester, great. But then it's Arsenal, Villa and City. I think realistically bringing in a player, especially on a wild card, that doesn't have, you know, the greatest of fixtures within the next 2 and has Southampton and Leicester in 6 and 7, it feels like it could potentially be a transfer further down the line. And I think you probably would be better maybe having somebody like a Minter or an Emil Smith-Rowe to start off with and then making that move over to Semenyo in game week 6 for a 2-week punt. However, though, I still don't like bringing in players for such short spaces of time. I kind of like to have players in there that have good long stretches of fixtures, and that's probably the problem I have with Semenyo for me personally. Moving on to a player that the Fantasy Football Hub AI algorithm absolutely adores. It is Eze, and I feel if you've been an Eze owner, it has been super frustrating over the past few weeks. However, his projected points are still up there. The AI is absolutely loving him, so much so that he's the second highest for predicted points in this team for this week, and that's why it's gave him the Vice armband as well. It is a great fixture, with Leicester at home. They then face Manchester United at home. Again, I think that's a pretty good fixture. Then Everton away. Liverpool is a difficult one. However, then it's Nottingham Forest, Tottenham and Wolves. So very much you could play Eze in every single fixture. As well, he is now the main talisman for that Palace side since Elise has left. Free kicks, corners, penalties. He does the lot. So I think this is a great pickup, to be honest. I think people that sold Eze last week weren't looking at the data, weren't watching his performances, and he was super unfortunate not to have came away with a mega haul, to be honest, in game week 2. So I think there's very good reason the Fantasy Football Hub AI algorithm likes him, and I completely can get this one and get on board with it. Again, same goes for Mohamed Salah. We saw with the 11-5 data, very much up there at Liverpool for projected goals over the next few weeks. I think as well, he represents arguably the best captaincy option for the next 3 game weeks. Now, it's tight this week, and if you look at projected points for just this game week alone, it does have Erling Haaland coming out on top, but only slightly. So if you were to go without him, obviously I fully understand why you would have Mohamed Salah as captain. Obviously, you know, Erling Haaland plays Arsenal in game week 5. He's got Bournemouth at home, great. Then, of course, Wolves away, while Manchester City face Newcastle away as well. So realistically, he is the best captaincy option for the next 3 game weeks, I would say, to be honest. So again, I think he's a player that a lot of people are going to be wildcarding and getting into their teams. I've had him since the start and I've loved owning him. So very big fan of that one. Right, let's move on into our forwards. Now, I feel this first pick is going to be a very controversial one from the AI. It is Alexander Isak. Now, he's not had the best start, has he, this season? He's just not. Obviously, watching Newcastle as well, from an attacking standpoint, they look sluggish. They don't look the same Newcastle we saw towards the back end of last season and obviously previous seasons under Eddie Howe as well. But if you look at the next 2 fixtures, I think are pretty decent for Newcastle, to be honest. And if I wasn't wildcarding and maybe having some thoughts about Alexander Isak this week, what to do with him, do I transfer him out, do I keep him in? If you're not stretched for budget and you're not trying to cram Mohamed Salah in, I think I would keep Alexander Isak this week. I'm planning on keeping him. I think Wolves away and Fulham away are a great set of fixtures. I feel maybe that goal has just given him that little edge of confidence as well. Maybe it'll give Newcastle an edge of confidence as well. Despite not looking the best, they've still managed to pick up 7 points as well. And what it allows you to do as well is move to Kai Havertz in matchday 6 for that great Arsenal fixture run that we obviously spoke about with Leicester, Southampton and Bournemouth there. So it's, you know, a nice hop on and hop off point as well. So I understand why the AI's done it. I think it probably just is a little bit controversial. And as we can see, it also has selected just Mohamed Salah, which again, I do think is a big blow. I think seeing some of the pictures from, you know, people that have sent me their teams for their wildcard, like I'm going to be rating wildcards in a future video, a lot of them do have Mohamed Salah and Haaland, and those teams are looking very ferocious. Now, this one does have some big hitters. However, I feel like after game week 7, Haaland becomes probably permacapped for around 4 to 5 weeks, and no one else really gets close to him. Now, there obviously is going to be Champions League football, but for me, I think it's probably a big mistake by the AI not to have Erling Haaland within this side. A player that I do agree with is João Pedro. Again, if we hark back to the 11FI data, it did have them as one of the best teams over the next 2 weeks. Even still, Brighton have looked really, really good over the opening few game weeks as well, creating plenty of opportunities. João Pedro on penalties, 5.6 million or 5.7 I think he's gone up to now. Pretty much makes sense for me. And then the final player is going to be Stewart. He's just going to be sat on our bench, kind of rotting away as a 4.5 million. I don't think there's any other playing 4.5 millions in the game right now. So Stewart makes complete sense from the AI if it is looking for a cheap forward. That was the AI team. Let me know what you think of it down in the comments section below. Like I said, if you want to go and check it out for yourself, head over to Fantasy Football Hub, a link in the description where you can obviously get yourself a 7-day free trial. But thank you very much for watching today, ladies and gentlemen, and good luck in game week 4.